Hi everyone, it's Leona from Leona's Designs, and I'm here with the bird of the month for July 2025. And the bird of the month for July is an eagle. And I have drawn this eagle, and I'm hoping to create him in fabric. So my plan is each month I create a fabric bird of the month, and I put it on this 6-inch square block, and then I slow stitch around it. So I've prepared my block. I've got some batting and this piece of blue fabric, and I'm just sewing around the edges 1/4 inch, and I'm hoping to cut this picture of the eagle I drew into pieces, and I have different material here that I'm hoping to use for his body and his head. I have just some white cotton here. I guess it's kind of muslin. And then these different colors of brown. Just a bunch of random pieces of brown here that I might put together for his body and maybe create feathers on his wings. I thought this might make great wings. And then this gold is for his eye, his beak, and his feet. And then I will just have to get a piece of gray material, I think, for the branch. So I'm going to get started. First of all, I'm going to cut this image into pieces: beak, head, body, and then I will probably, I guess I could cut his feet, and then the branch, and we'll get started cutting those pieces out of material. So I'm just going to use my little paper fuzzy cut scissors here to cut this pattern up. I hope everyone's having a good day and a good start to their July and their summer. The weather is very nice here where I live in the Pacific Northwest, so I'm enjoying the summer weather and looking forward to days of nice warm weather. And I did create another birthday card for this bird of the month, which I will show you in a little bit. And it's going to be in my Etsy shop. I have been creating birthday cards for the birds of the month every month, and they're in my Etsy shop as digital download printables for anyone that would like to print out a custom bird of the month birthday card to perhaps send to a friend or a loved one that is a bird lover. It tells all about the bird of the month and its characteristics, and also about the person born in that month, how they might relate to the bird. So it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting to learn about the different birds of the month. I will link my playlist for the birds of the month in the description box if you'd like to go back and watch all my videos from January till now about each bird of the month. So I've got him cut out now. I'm just going to start cutting the pieces, and we'll start putting him together in fabric. And I will have a pattern on my Ko-fi page, on my Ko-fi shop, if anyone wants the pattern to create their own eagle, I will have the pattern posted on there where you can download it as a PDF. Shouldn't be too difficult, I'm thinking. Not too many pieces. There's his head, and after I cut out his head, I'll go back and not sure if I'll cut an eye out or just kind of wing it or slow stitch it in. But now I'm going to cut. Let's see. Guess I'll have to cut his body in 2 pieces. I don't really want to do that though, because I want to cut all one piece for the body, and then I want to cut one strip for the. So I think what I'll do is just trace the body and then come back and finish cutting out this part. I'm going to remove my mat here and get a piece of parchment paper. And trace this body. Use this to be my background board. And of course, if you get the pattern, the pieces will be all traced out for you, so you won't have to do this. It's just a one-time thing. So I'm just going to trace this on parchment paper. I'm just going to go like right down like this. And then up. Like that. So that's this whole body. And that is the piece you would get in the pattern. And then might as well just trace the branch while I'm at it. So this would be the branch. You could cut that out of whatever color material you want. I think I'm going to make mine gray. And then his feet. I'll just trace those. And cut them out of some yellow material or gold material. Okay, so we've got that much done. And then I'm going to trace the head here. I think I got enough room. head. And beak. And I probably should trace the eye. Okay, so I want to cut it out of gold. And then I'm going to bring this back. I don't know if I have room on here. I have to get another piece of parchment. Yeah, I will get another piece of parchment. What I'm going to do here is trace this part of his body as a wing. So that will be the left wing. I need to sharpen this pencil. And this will be the right wing. And then I think I'm going to make it like feathers. Like it is here. Okay. So I got all my tracing done. Now I'm going to start cutting it out. And then I'll show you, before the video ends, I'll put all these pattern pieces together on a separate piece of paper, and they will make a PDF for the pattern. But right now, I'm going to cut these pieces out of this varied material. I won't make you watch all that. And then I'll be back to show you all the pieces I cut out and how I'm going to arrange them on the block. Okay, he doesn't look like much right now, but he will look good once I get him all stitched down. I had to trim his body a little bit to fit on this block. So it's a little smaller than the pattern I had, but if you weren't putting it on a 6-inch block, the pattern would be fine. So I just adapted it a little bit. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to stitch all these down, glue these feet down in the eye, probably. And then I'm going to come back and cut some feathers out for his wings. His left and right wings. And I think I'm going to do it out of this fabric. It's just got different prints on it. I think it will just make it really pop. But we'll see how it looks when I get to that point. But right now I'm going to glue these pieces and start stitching them down. And I'm not worried about this here because the wings are going to cover that up. So The first part I think I have to do is the body and the head. So I'm going to remove these and remove the beak and the eye and just pin these down and start stitching them just with a running stitch. Oops. Just put a couple pins in here, hold it down, and start stitching all the way around the outside of this body in this head. So I've got some white embroidery floss here, just a couple of strands. I'm going to use that to stitch down his head, and then I'll get some probably black to go over his body, black or brown. So we're just going to come in. Should we come in right here, I think. And it should stitch pretty smoothly because it's just a couple layers of fabric with batting behind. And just going to come right into that point. And then just continue on. I guess I will do an overcast stitch for this part at least. Just because this is like his white feathers. It'll probably make it look better if it's an overcast stitch rather than a running stitch. The thread keeps wanting to get short here. So this will take a while, but it should be very enjoyable. Just stitching all this down. If you enjoy slow stitch, which I do, I don't get to do enough of it. So seems like I'm always busy with art projects and journals, and I don't get to my slow stitching as much as I'd like to. I am going to be part of a Faith Journal Challenge. It's called Faith Journal July 2025, and it's a journal challenge for every day of the week in July. And it's the creators are Debbie Wallbank and Diane Mara. They both have YouTube channels, and they created this channel, or this challenge, and they've invited 23 collaborators to do a journal challenge, Bible study every day for the month of July, and I am one of them. I'm one of the collaborators, so I'm really excited about that. My day is July 11th, so I will have a video up on my channel about the verse for that day and a short Bible study and some type of journal creation. I'm not sure what kind of journal page I'm going to create for that day. But I do have a flip through video of the journal I created for this challenge. So I will link that in the description box if anyone's interested. I think it's going to be a fun challenge. My needle came unthreaded, and I'm just going to continue stitching here all the way around, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've got his head all stitched down. I really love how it turned out. I just did a lot of stitching, overcast stitching, and this to me looks really like feathers, so I'm happy I did it that way. I didn't stitch this down yet because I do want to add those wings, and so I'm probably just going to put a little glue and then stitch those wings on, and then probably stitch the tail after I do the branch. So the next thing I'm going to do is put his beak on. So I will glue that down, and then I will stitch it with some gold embroidery floss, which I have to go get. Okay, I've got my floss ready. Just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this nose just to hold it down. Or this beak, I mean, not nose. And then I'm going to just do some running stitch. I think I don't want it overlapping too much. Right there should be good. Just do a little running stitch right here. Bring this up a little bit. Just gonna do small stitches. And my needle come unthreaded right away. That is not good. You hear some noise in the background. It's because I'm cooking supper, and I think whatever's in the microwave is being kind of noisy. I'm sorry for that. Let me stop this and go take care of that, and I'll be right back. Okay. Just going to get this beak stitched on. Oh, I hope I am. That wasn't supposed to happen. Guess I didn't have enough glue to hold it down. All right, stay on there. Stay on there long enough for me to stitch you down. This is going to work out. It's kind of a thin piece of cloth. I probably should use 2 pieces of cloth or maybe some felt, but I don't think I have any felt in this color. Well, we'll just make it do. it's going to be okay. Just do a little back stitch. I'm going to just continue around and I'll be back. Okay, so I finished sewing his beak and his eye. What I did was I had to take out the embroidery floss stitches that I was using to sew his beak, and I ended up using this sewing thread because the embroidery was just too thick to sew down these small pieces of fabric. So I think that looks good. And I wish, now I'm getting ready to put the wings on, and I think it'll look good, but I'm wishing I had put the wings on before I stitched down the head, because I would like the wings to be kind of under the head here part, kind of showing more of that stitching there. But if I do it again, or if you do it, I would suggest you stitch the wings on and then stitch down the head, just this part, because I think it would look better. So that's just a learning mistake. And then this is the branch and his feet that I'm going to do last. So I think I will actually use the sewing thread for the rest of it, because the material is pretty thin. So if I was sewing the beak and the feet with felt, you know, it might be different. But since this material is all thin, I'm just going to end up stitching it down with this thin thread. Or, you know, you could use like one strand of embroidery floss. Either way. So that's what I'm planning to do now. I'm going to stitch these wings down, and I'll be back to show you the results. Okay, I've got the wings all stitched down. Really happy with how that looks. And now I'm just going to stitch around here to hold the body down. And then I will add the branch. And I'm really happy with using this sewing thread. I think I'm going to go back with some embroidery floss and just stitch a few seed stitches, running stitches all over the body and the wings, just for the look of feathers. I think that would look good. And I also want to stitch some maybe seed stitches in his head and neck part, just for feathers. But I think it went well. It wasn't that hard to do. It's just the next time if I make one, or if you make one, I would suggest putting the wings on before stitching down the entire head. And maybe using felt for the beak and the feet. But, you know, it's up to you what you want to use. If it was thicker fabric, or if you doubled up the fabric, which I did for the head, that would make a difference too. So just doing some running stitches here around the edge to finish off the body. And now I'm going to get the branch I cut out of this kind of grayish white material. And I think it will look good like that. So I'll glue that down and stitch that, probably with some gray or black thread, and then I'll be back. Okay, I got the branch all stitched on. I think it looks good. Now I'm just going to glue down these feet, and maybe I will stitch them on. Just going to put a little bit of glue on them so that they stay where they're supposed to. And they're so thin that I'm going to use the sewing thread again. I think that looks good. All right, I've got my needle threaded here. So once the glue dries a little bit, I'll start stitching that down, and then should be pretty much finished. It feels really good. And it kind of puffs out here on his chest. So I don't think I'm going to add any more stitches. I kind of like the way it is right now. Just going to stitch his feet down, and then I'll be back to show you finished results. Okay, I'm going to call him done. I did stitch his feet down. I used just big running stitches on his claws, and I put a stitch on his beak there to kind of separate it. Big running stitch, and then I added a little glue to kind of curve it. But I think he looks great. I'm really pleased with how he turned out. It always amazes me, excuse me, how you can take a few pieces of scrap fabrics and turn them into something that looks really nice. So July Bird of the Month is created, and I will have the pattern available in my Ko-fi shop if you're interested to go check that out as a digital download. And I also want to show you the birthday card I created. It's a Bird of the Month birthday card, which is in my Etsy shop. I just turned the eagle into a patriotic bird, and inside is all about people that people that are born in July, and what the eagle kind of means, a few characteristics of the eagle, another image of the drawing, and then the back. So that's in my Etsy shop if you want to go digital download that and print it out for someone you know who has a July birthday. And I will hope to see you again next month for the Bird of the Month for August. Have a blessed day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Oh, and here's the pattern that you can find on my Ko-fi shop. Link is in the description.